I agreed to be my ex's wedding planner. Now he's having second thoughts about me. The words on the contract blur as my hand hovers over the signature line, pen trembling between my fingers like it's begging me not to do this. Haruka? Is everything okay? May's voice cuts through my spiral of doubt, her perfect smile gleaming across the cafe table. She's everything I'm not, poised, put together, wearing an engagement ring that could have been mine. Sorry, just reviewing the details. I force my best professional smile, the one I've perfected over years of dealing with demanding clients. But May isn't just any client. And this isn't just any wedding. This is Kazuki's wedding. My Kazuki. Well, former Kazuki. The same man who 5 years ago told me we wanted different things in life, then disappeared from mine completely. Now he's marrying someone else. And somehow, through the universe's cruel sense of humor, I'm the one they've chosen to plan every perfect detail. I sign my name with a flourish that betrays none of my inner turmoil. Haruka Tanaka, event planner. Not Haruka Tanaka, the one who got away. I'm so excited to work with you, May clasps her hands together. Kazuki mentioned you were the best in the business, though he never told me you two knew each other before. My stomach drops. He didn't mention our history? May waves her hand dismissively. Oh, he said you went to university together. But when I saw your portfolio online, I just knew you were perfect for our vision. Traditional with modern touches. Elegant, but not stuffy. So that's how it is. 5 years reduced to, went to university together. 3 years of late-night study sessions, weekend trips to the coast, whispered promises under cherry blossoms, all compressed into the most casual of acquaintances. Well, I'm flattered. I tuck the contract into my portfolio case. And your wedding vision sounds lovely. I'm sure we can create something special. Something special for the man I once thought I'd marry. The irony isn't lost on me. Wonderful. Kazuki will be so pleased. He's been traveling for work, but he'll be at our first planning meeting next week. May checks her diamond-encrusted watch. I should run. Lunch break's almost over. Investment banking waits for no one. As she gathers her designer handbag, I can't help but notice everything about her screams success. No wonder Kazuki chose her. She probably never had to choose between paying rent and keeping her business afloat. Before I go, May pauses, her perfect eyebrows drawing together slightly. I should mention our budget is quite flexible. Kazuki's family is insisting on covering most expenses. The Nakamuras. Of course. The same family that always looked at me like I wasn't quite good enough for their son. That's helpful to know. I keep my voice steady despite the memories flooding back. Mr. Nakamura's disapproving glances, Mrs. Nakamura's polite but distant smiles. After May leaves, I sit alone with my coffee gone cold, staring at my phone calculator. With the deposit from this wedding, I can finally pay off the last of my business loan. Keep my small office space another year. Maybe even hire an assistant. I need this job. My fingers find the business card in my pocket, the final notice from the bank about my overdue payments. My event planning business, Tanaka Celebrations, has been struggling since the pandemic. This high-profile wedding could save everything I've worked for. My phone buzzes with a text from Yuki. Did you meet the fiancé? How bad was it? I type back. Signed the contract. She's perfect. Kill me now. 3 dots appear immediately. You actually took the job? Drinks tonight. No excuses. We need to talk about your terrible life choices. I smile despite myself. Yuki has been my rock since university, especially after the breakup with Kazuki. She never understood why things ended so abruptly between us, but she was there with ice cream and sake when I couldn't get out of bed for days. As I pack up to leave, my phone rings with an unknown number. Tanaka Celebrations, this is Haruka speaking. Silence stretches for 2 beats, then, Haruka. My heart stops. That voice, deep, slightly raspy, with that particular way of saying my name, like it's something precious. Kazuki. I managed to keep my voice from shaking, barely. I just heard from May that you accepted the contract. He sounds different, tense, formal, nothing like the Kazuki who used to whisper my name against my skin. Yes, I did. it's a business decision. I stand and walk toward the exit, needing fresh air suddenly. I understand. He pauses. I just wanted to make sure you were comfortable with this arrangement. The spring sunshine hits my face as I step outside, momentarily blinding me. Why wouldn't I be? It's been 5 years, Kazuki. We're adults. Right. Another pause. I just thought, never mind. I'm looking forward to working with you professionally. Something in his tone makes me stop walking. Was this your idea? Hiring me? No, he says quickly. May found your website independently. When she mentioned your name, I was surprised. But you didn't object. Should I have? The question hangs between us, loaded with unspoken history. No, I finally say. Like I said, it's business. Your wedding will be beautiful. I'll make sure of it. I know you will. His voice softens slightly. You always had an eye for beauty, Haruka. My treacherous heart flutters. I squeeze my eyes shut, forcing myself back to reality. I have another call coming in. I should go. Of course. I'll see you at the planning meeting next week. After hanging up, I lean against the nearest building, my knees suddenly weak. One phone call. That's all it took to undo years of careful emotional recovery. One conversation, and I'm right back where I was 5 years ago, hanging on his every word. This is a mistake. I should call May, make up an excuse, refer her to another planner. My phone pings with a bank notification. Insufficient funds for automatic payment. I take a deep breath, straightening my shoulders. I can do this. I can plan Kazuki Nakamura's wedding without falling apart. I can watch him marry someone else with a professional smile plastered on my face. I can design the perfect centerpieces and taste test wedding cakes and coordinate his first dance with another woman. For the sake of my business, for my professional reputation, for closure. As I walk to my tiny office, I repeat these reasons like a mantra, ignoring the voice inside that whispers the truth. I took this job because some masochistic part of me needs to understand why I wasn't enough for him. What I don't expect is the text that arrives just as I reach my office door. It was good to hear your voice again. Some things never change. I stare at Kazuki's message, my finger hovering over the delete button. Instead, I find myself reading it again and again, searching for hidden meaning in 7 simple words. This is going to be so much harder than I thought. I never planned on seeing Kazuki on his wedding day before the actual ceremony, let alone having him confess his lingering feelings to me. Yet here we are, standing in the empty venue with the weight of 5 years of unspoken words between us. His eyes hold mine with an intensity that makes my heart race, and I'm suddenly aware of how dangerous this moment is. I can't stop thinking about what could have been, he says, his voice barely above a whisper. About us. The words hang in the air, words I once desperately wanted to hear, words that now could destroy everything, his relationship, my business, and whatever fragile piece I've managed to build since our breakup. Kazuki. I take a small step back, needing distance to think clearly. You're getting married tomorrow, to May. Remember her? The woman who hired me to plan your perfect day? His face falls slightly, but he doesn't retreat. I know. That's why I needed to talk to you now. Before, he runs a hand through his hair in frustration. I just need to know if you ever think about us too. I glance at the exit, wishing I could escape this conversation and the feelings threatening to overwhelm me. But I know running away won't solve anything. It never has. Of course I do, I admit, the truth slipping out before I can stop it. But thinking about the past and living in it are two different things. We both moved on, Kazuki. You're with May now. His phone buzzes in his pocket, breaking the tension momentarily. He glances at it, then silences it without answering. May? I ask, already knowing the answer. He nods, guilt flickering across his features. She wants to know where I am. Then you should go to her, I say firmly, though every selfish part of me screams in protest. This conversation, whatever this is, it needs to end. Now. For a moment, I think he might argue, might push for more than I can give. Instead, he takes a deep breath and nods. You're right. I'm sorry for putting you in this position. It's fine, I lie, forcing a professional smile. Last-minute jitters are normal. Just go be with your fiancé. He hesitates, then turns to leave, pausing at the doorway. Haruka? Yes? Thank you for everything. The loaded meaning behind his words isn't lost on me. After he's gone, I collapse into a nearby chair, my mind racing. What just happened? And more importantly, what am I going to do about it? My phone rings, startling me. Yuki's name flashes on the screen. Please tell me you're not alone with the groom, she says as soon as I answer. I groan. How did you know? Because I know you, and I know him, and this whole situation is a disaster waiting to happen. Her voice softens. Are you okay? No, I admit, rubbing my temples. He basically just told me he still has feelings for me. Oh, Haruka. I can practically see her concerned expression. What did you say? I told him to go back to May, that we've both moved on. I pause. But you haven't moved on, she finishes for me. I thought I had, I whisper, tears threatening. Until I saw him again. Yuki sighs. Listen to me. You have two choices here. Either you remove yourself from this situation immediately, or you need to commit to being completely professional and burying those feelings. There is no middle ground. I know that, I snap, then immediately regret it. Sorry, this wedding means everything for my business. I can't walk away now. Then you need to establish firm boundaries with Kazuki. No more private meetings, no reminiscing, no what-ifs. You're there to do a job, not rekindle a romance. She's right, of course. I need to be professional. I need to focus on the wedding, not the groom. I will. I promise. Good. Now, what's left to do before tomorrow? Grateful for the change in subject, I run through my checklist with her, the familiar routine of event planning, calming my nerves. By the time we hang up, I've convinced myself I can handle this. One more day, then the wedding will be over, and I can put Kazuki firmly back in my past where he belongs. At least, that's what I tell myself. The rehearsal dinner is in full swing when I arrive at the upscale restaurant May selected. I'm not technically required to be here, but as the wedding planner, I want to ensure everything runs smoothly. The private room is elegant, with soft lighting and beautiful floral arrangements that I personally selected. May's family mingles with Kazuki's, though I notice a stiffness in their interactions. Mrs. Nakamura, Kazuki's mother, catches my eye and waves me over enthusiastically. Haruka-chan, I was hoping you'd be here. She embraces me warmly, the familiar scent of her perfume bringing back memories of family dinners and holidays spent at their home. Mrs. Nakamura, it's good to see you, I say, genuinely happy to see the woman who once treated me like a daughter. She holds me at arm's length, examining me with a critical eye. You're too thin. Are you eating properly? I laugh. Some things never change. And why should they? She links her arm through mine, leading me deeper into the room. Now tell me about your business. Kazuki says you're becoming quite successful. The mention of Kazuki discussing me with his mother makes my stomach flip, but I maintain my composure. It's going well. This wedding will definitely help establish my reputation. Her smile falters slightly. Ah, yes. The wedding? She lowers her voice. You know, we were all quite surprised when Kazuki announced his engagement, so sudden. I shift uncomfortably, sensing dangerous territory. I think they make a lovely couple. Her noncommittal response speaks volumes. Well, we're just happy you're part of the celebration, even if it's not quite how we imagined you'd be involved in our son's wedding. Before I can respond to this loaded statement, Kazuki's father approaches, his imposing presence commanding attention as always. Haruka, he says with a nod, I see my wife has already found you. Mr. Nakamura, I bow slightly, the old formality returning instinctively. Our relationship was always more strained than the one I had with his wife. Your arrangements look expensive, he observes, gesturing to the flowers. They're exactly what May requested, and within budget, I reply, keeping my tone professional despite the implied criticism. He makes a sound that might be approval or disapproval. It's hard to tell with him. I suppose that's what matters. His gaze sharpens. How are you finding it, planning my son's wedding? There's something in his question that makes me uneasy, as if he's testing me. It's been a wonderful professional opportunity. Professional. Yes. He studies me for a moment longer. Well, I won't keep you from your duties. As he walks away, Mrs. Nakamura squeezes my arm sympathetically. Don't mind him. He's just set in his ways. I smile politely, but can't help wondering what exactly she means by that. Before I can ask, I spot May across the room, looking stunning in a crimson dress that complements her fair skin perfectly. She's speaking with her parents, but her eyes keep darting to where Kazuki stands with his groomsmen. Excuse me, I say to Mrs. Nakamura. I should check on the bride. I make my way over to May, noting the tension in her shoulders as I approach. Everything is running perfectly, I assure her. The main course should be served in about 15 minutes. She turns to me with a tight smile. Thank you, Haruka. You've been so attentive throughout this process. Something about her tone puts me on alert. Of course, that's my job. Your job, she repeats, taking a sip of her champagne. Tell me, do you always put in this much extra effort for all your clients? I try to, I say carefully. Or is it just for Kazuki? The direct question catches me off guard. I'm not sure what you mean. Her eyes narrow slightly. I think you do. She sets down her glass with deliberate care. He told me, about your conversation earlier today. My heart drops. He did? He said you were discussing some last-minute details but needed privacy because it involved a surprise for me. Her laugh lacks humor. Do you think I'm stupid, Haruka? No, of course not. Because I see the way you look at him, she continues, her voice low but intense. And worse, I see the way he looks at you. I swallow hard, aware that several guests are watching our interaction with curious eyes. May, this isn't the place. You're right, she cuts me off. It isn't. Just like my fiancé's wedding planning sessions weren't the place for whatever has been happening between you two. Nothing is happening, I insist, my voice shakier than I'd like. We have history, yes, but that's all it is. History. She studies me for a long moment. I want to believe you. Really, I do. She glances over at Kazuki, who's now watching us with concern. Because I love him, and I think he loves me too. But there's always been something he holds back. The vulnerability in her admission catches me off guard. For all her confident exterior, May is just as insecure about Kazuki's feelings as I once was. He chose you, I say softly, meaning it. He's marrying you tomorrow. Yes. She straightens her shoulders, composure returning. He is, and I need your word that you'll do nothing to jeopardize that. You have it, I promise, ignoring the painful twist in my chest. I'm here as your wedding planner, nothing more. She nods, seemingly satisfied. Good. Then let's get through this dinner, shall we? As she walks away to join Kazuki, I take a moment to steady myself. The exchange has left me shaken, not just because of May's suspicions, but because of the truth they've forced me to confront. Despite my best intentions, I'm not as over Kazuki as I've been pretending to be. And now I've promised his fiancé, my client, that I'll bow out gracefully. For the sake of my business, my reputation, and whatever shred of dignity I have left, I need to honor that promise, even if it breaks my heart all over again. I plaster on my professional smile and return to circulating among the guests, making sure everything continues running smoothly. But as I catch Kazuki's gaze across the room, his eyes full of questions I can't answer, I wonder how I'll survive tomorrow, watching the man I never stopped loving marry someone else. And worse, helping make it the perfect day for them both. I plan his wedding, but my heart can't let him go. As I stand in the venue's entrance hall watching Kazuki's mother approach with that knowing look in her eyes, I realize I've been fooling myself this whole time. No amount of professional boundaries or forced smiles can change the fact that I'm still in love with the groom. Haruka-chan, you look pale. Are you feeling all right? Mrs. Nakamura's gentle voice breaks through my spiraling thoughts. She's always had this maternal sixth sense about my emotions, even now. I straighten my posture and adjust my clipboard. I'm fine, just a bit tired from all the preparations. Everything is coming together beautifully. The lie slips out easily, practiced from weeks of pretending. She studies my face, unconvinced. You know, I've always thought of you as a daughter. That never changed, even after... She lets the sentence hang between us, heavy with implication. Mrs. Nakamura, I appreciate that, but he was different with you, she continues, ignoring my attempt to redirect. More himself, more alive. With May, he's... She sighs, searching for the right word. Settled. My chest tightens. This conversation crosses every professional line I've desperately tried to maintain. Settled can be good, I manage to say, though the words taste bitter. Kazuki deserves stability and happiness. May gives him that. Mrs. Nakamura reaches out and pats my hand, her touch sending a wave of unwanted comfort through me. Does she? I wonder sometimes if my son is confusing contentment with happiness. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes with a text from the florist about a last-minute arrangement change. I'm sorry, I need to handle this, I say, grateful for the escape. The rehearsal dinner starts in 3 hours, and there are still details to finalize. She nods, but as I turn to leave, she says quietly, Some things are worth disrupting, Haruka. Remember that. I hurry down the hallway, her words echoing in my mind. How cruel timing can be. These revelations coming 5 years too late, when Kazuki is just days away from becoming someone else's husband. In the service corridor, I lean against the wall and take deep breaths. My phone buzzes again, but this time it's Yuki. How's the rehearsal prep going? On a scale from I'm a professional to I'm having a breakdown in the bathroom? Where are we at? Her text reads. I type back. Somewhere between, his mother just basically told me he's marrying the wrong woman, and I'm 5 seconds from running away to start a new life in Hokkaido. Her response is immediate. Oh shit. Want me to create a distraction? I could accidentally set something on fire? Despite everything, I laugh. No arson necessary, yet, but maybe come early? I could use the moral support. On my way. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. That leaves my options dangerously open. I put my phone away and force myself back into professional mode. The venue staff are waiting for direction on table arrangements, and I need to check in with the chef about May's last-minute menu changes. 1 foot in front of the other. Just keep moving. An hour later, I'm reviewing the seating chart in the main hall when I feel someone's presence behind me. I know it's Kazuki before I even turn around. Something in the air changes when he's near, like my body is attuned to his particular frequency. The room looks amazing, he says softly. You've outdone yourself, Haruka. I turn to face him, maintaining a careful distance. He's wearing a charcoal suit that makes his shoulders look broader than I remember. His hair is slightly tousled, like he's been running his fingers through it, a nervous habit he's had since college. Just doing my job, I reply, aiming for casual, but landing somewhere closer to strained. Where's May? I thought she wanted to approve the final layout. She's running late, something about her final dress fitting. He steps closer, glancing at my clipboard. Can I help with anything? The offer is innocent enough, but having him near me, smelling that familiar sandalwood cologne, makes my heart race traitorously. I've got it covered. You should be relaxing. It's your rehearsal dinner. Relaxing isn't really in the cards right now. There's something in his voice, tension, uncertainty, that makes me look up. His eyes meet mine, and for a second, I see a flicker of something raw and unguarded. Nervous? I ask, trying to sound like a supportive friend rather than a woman who still dreams about him. He hesitates, then lowers his voice. Can we talk? Somewhere private? Warning bells go off in my head. I don't think that's a good idea, Kazuki. I have a million things to do before guests arrive. Please. The way he says it, like he's drowning and I'm the only one who can pull him to shore, breaks my resolve. 5 minutes, I concede. The terrace should be empty. We walk in silence through the French doors onto the stone terrace overlooking the garden. The evening air is cool, the sky painted in deepening shades of orange and purple. In another context, it would be romantic. Kazuki leans against the stone balustrade, his profile silhouetted against the sunset. My mother mentioned she spoke with you earlier. Of course she did. I grip my clipboard tighter. She did. She was just checking on the arrangements. Don't. He turns to face me fully. Don't pretend that's all it was. I know her too well, and I know you. What do you want me to say, Kazuki? That your mother thinks you're making a mistake? That shouldn't come as a shock. She's never hidden how she feels about May. And what about you? His question hits me like a physical blow. What do you think? I take a step back. What I think doesn't matter. I'm your wedding planner, not my what? He moves closer, his eyes searching mine. Not my girlfriend? Not the woman I was supposed to. He stops abruptly, running a hand through his hair. Don't, I whisper, feeling the careful walls I've built starting to crumble. Don't say things you'll regret tomorrow. That's just it, Haruka. I've spent 5 years regretting what I didn't say. His voice cracks slightly. When I left. Indignation flares suddenly. You pushed me away, Kazuki. You chose your father's company over us. You said, and I quote, some dreams are worth more than others. My dreams weren't worth enough for you. Pain flashes across his face. That's not what happened. Not how I meant it. Then how did you mean it? The hurt I've suppressed for years rises to the surface. Because it seemed pretty clear when you let me walk away. I thought you wanted to go. His voice rises slightly. You had that amazing job offer in New York, and you were so excited about it. My father had just been diagnosed. The company was struggling. I couldn't leave Tokyo. I thought I was setting you free. I stare at him, stunned. Setting me free? I would have stayed. I would have found another opportunity. I wanted you to ask me to stay. And I wanted you to choose to stay without me having to ask. His admission hangs in the air between us. I didn't want to be the reason you gave up your dreams. I couldn't live with that. The realization hits me like a wave. We broke each other's hearts through misunderstanding and pride, each thinking we were doing what the other wanted. Why are you telling me this now? My voice is barely audible. Days before your wedding? Before he can answer, we hear the click of heels on marble. We step apart instinctively, just as May appears at the terrace doors. There you are. Her voice is bright, but her eyes narrow slightly as they move between us. What are you two discussing so seriously? Kazuki recovers faster than I do. Just some last-minute changes to the ceremony. Haruka was filling me in. May's smile doesn't reach her eyes. I see. Well, I hope I'm not interrupting anything important. Not at all, I say, professional mask firmly back in place. I was just about to check on the lighting setup. Excuse me. As I move to pass her, May reaches out and touches my arm. Her grip is gentle but firm. Haruka, could I steal you for a moment after? I have some thoughts about the centerpieces. Something in her tone tells me this isn't about centerpieces at all. Of course, find me when you're ready. I walk away, feeling both their gazes on my back. In the safety of the service corridor, I lean against the wall, trying to process what just happened. Kazuki's revelation has shifted everything. The past I thought I understood, the present I'm trying to navigate, and a future that suddenly seems dangerously uncertain. My phone buzzes with a text from Yuki. Just parked. Crisis level update? I stare at the screen, wondering how to possibly convey my situation. Finally, I type, code red. We broke up because of a misunderstanding. He might still have feelings for me. His fiancée definitely suspects something, and I think I'm about to have a very uncomfortable conversation with the bride. 3 dots appear immediately then. Holy shit. Stay where you are. I'm coming in hot with emergency chocolate and my best, everything is fine, smile. I take a deep breath and straighten my shoulders. The rehearsal dinner starts in less than an hour. Guests will begin arriving soon. Whatever personal chaos is unfolding, I still have a job to do. But as I walk back toward the main hall, Mrs. Nakamura's words echo in my mind. Some things are worth disrupting. The question now is whether Kazuki and I are one of those things, and whether I have the courage to find out before it's too late. I went on a date with my ex's best man, and now I'm not sure who my heart belongs to anymore. The revelation hits me like a physical blow as I stare at Hiroki across the table, his kind eyes watching me with a warmth that makes my chest ache in a way that's both familiar and frighteningly new. Haruka, are you okay? Hiroki asks, his voice pulling me back to the present. We're sitting in a small izakaya, the soft glow of paper lanterns casting shadows across his concerned face. Sorry, I manage, forcing a smile. Just processing everything. And there's so much to process. Just hours earlier, I was having a complete meltdown over Kazuki. And now, here I am, enjoying dinner with his best friend, a man who has somehow slipped past my defenses without me even noticing. Hiroki takes a sip of his sake, his eyes never leaving mine. You don't have to pretend with me, you know. I've known you long enough to tell when something's bothering you. That's the thing about Hiroki. He's always been observant, quietly understanding in a way that Kazuki never was. Where Kazuki was passionate and impulsive, Hiroki is steady and thoughtful. Two sides of a coin I never thought I'd be flipping again. It's just been a long day, I say, which isn't exactly a lie. Planning your best friend's wedding when he's your ex isn't exactly in any event planner's handbook. Hiroki laughs, the sound warm and genuine. I can imagine. Though I have to say, you're handling it better than most would. Am I? I ask, thinking about my breakdown in the bathroom at the venue, the way I nearly kissed Kazuki in his office. If that's handling it well, I'd hate to see what a disaster looks like. You are, he insists, then hesitates before adding. That's one of the things I've always admired about you, Haruka, your resilience. Something flutters in my chest, something I haven't felt in a long time. It's different from the sharp, painful longing I feel around Kazuki. This is softer, gentler, but no less real. I don't know if it's resilience or just plain stubbornness, I joke, trying to lighten the suddenly charged atmosphere between us. Maybe a bit of both, Hiroki says, his smile reaching his eyes in a way that makes me want to trace the crinkles at the corners with my fingertips. But it's what makes you, you. The waiter arrives with our food, momentarily breaking the tension. As we eat, our conversation shifts to safer topics, work, mutual friends, the latest TV shows we've been watching. It feels easy, comfortable. For the first time in weeks, I'm not thinking about wedding plans or Kazuki or May. I'm just present until my phone buzzes with a text. I glance down and feel my heart stutter when I see Kazuki's name flash across the screen. Need to get that? Hiroki asks, noticing my sudden change in demeanor. No, it can wait, I say, turning my phone face down on the table. But the damage is already done. Kazuki has found his way back into this moment, just as he always seems to do. Hiroki studies me for a moment, then asks the question I've been dreading. You still have feelings for him, don't you? I freeze, chopsticks halfway to my mouth. The direct question catches me off guard, but I appreciate his honesty. After all, isn't that what's been missing from my life lately? Honesty? I start, then stop, setting down my chopsticks. It's complicated. Life usually is, Hiroki says with a small smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes this time. When Kazuki and I broke up 5 years ago, it wasn't... I struggle to find the words. It wasn't clean. There were things left unsaid, feelings left unresolved. And now, being thrown back into his life like this, planning his wedding, of all things, it stirred everything up again. Hiroki nods, his expression unreadable. And what about May? How do you feel about her? The question hits me like a bucket of cold water. In all my confusion about my feelings for Kazuki, I've been trying not to think too deeply about the woman he's chosen to marry. She's lovely, I say honestly. Kind, beautiful, accomplished. Everything he should want. But not you, Hiroki says quietly. I look up at him, startled by his perception. What? You said she's everything he should want, not everything he does want. The distinction hangs between us, heavy with implication. I take a deep breath, feeling suddenly vulnerable. I don't know what he wants anymore, I admit, and I'm not sure I should care. Hiroki reaches across the table, his fingers lightly brushing against mine. The contact sends a small shock through me, unexpected but not unwelcome. What about what you want, Haruka? He asks, his voice low. Have you thought about that? What do I want? The question echoes in my mind, deceptively simple, yet impossibly complex. 2 weeks ago, I was focused on saving my business, keeping my head above water. Now I'm caught in an emotional tsunami with no clear path to shore. I begin, then pause, realizing with startling clarity that I'm not just talking to Hiroki anymore. I'm being honest with myself for the first time in years. I want to not feel like I'm betraying someone no matter what choice I make. I want to do my job without having my heart ripped out every time I see them together. What? Hiroki prompts gently when I trail off. I want to know if what I'm feeling for Kazuki is real or just emotional muscle memory, the ghost of something that used to be but isn't anymore. Hiroki's eyes soften. And how do you figure that out? I laugh, the sound edged with frustration. If you have the answer to that one, I'd love to hear it. Instead of responding with words, Hiroki stands, extending his hand to me. Come on, let's get out of here. Where are we going? I ask, surprised but already reaching for my purse. Somewhere that might help clear your head a little. 20 minutes later, we're standing on the observation deck of Tokyo Tower, the city sprawled before us like a sea of stars. The night is clear, the air crisp with early spring. Up here, above the noise and chaos, I feel like I can breathe for the first time in days. I've always loved this view, Hiroki says, standing beside me at the railing. Makes all your problems seem smaller somehow. I nod, understanding exactly what he means. From up here, the tangled web of my feelings for Kazuki, my professional obligations, my confusing new awareness of Hiroki, it all seems more manageable, less overwhelming. Thank you for bringing me here, I say, turning to look at him. The city lights reflect in his eyes, making them shimmer with warmth. And for dinner? And for listening. Any time, he says, and I know he means it. That's the thing about Hiroki. He's always been reliable, steadfast, the calm in Kazuki's storm. Can I ask you something? I say, suddenly curious. Why did you ask me out tonight? Really? Hiroki looks away from me, back out at the city. For a moment, I think he might not answer. Then he says, because I've watched you orbit around Kazuki for years, even after you broke up. Always in his gravity, even when you thought you'd escaped it. And I thought maybe you deserved a chance to see what else is out there, what other possibilities exist. My breath catches. Possibilities? Like what? Now he turns to me fully, his expression serious but gentle. Like the possibility that there's someone who's been waiting for you to look at him the way you look at Kazuki. Someone who's been right there all along. The implication is clear, unmistakable. Hiroki isn't just talking about theoretical possibilities. He's talking about himself. Hiroki, I whisper, not knowing what else to say. My heart is pounding so hard I'm sure he can hear it. I'm not asking for anything, Haruka, he says quickly. I know your heart is complicated right now. I just wanted you to know that you have options. That Kazuki isn't the only man who sees how amazing you are. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes again, insistently this time. With an apologetic glance at Hiroki, I pull it out to see multiple texts from Kazuki. Need to talk about the venue change. Urgent. Haruka, please call me when you get this. Are you okay? You're not answering. And the last one, sent just seconds ago. I'm outside your apartment. Where are you? My stomach drops. I have to go, I say, looking up at Hiroki with wide eyes. Kazuki's at my apartment. Something about the venue. Something flickers across Hiroki's face. Disappointment, resignation, understanding. Maybe all three. Of course, he says. The wedding comes first. The wedding. Right. That's what this is all about. Not my feelings, not Kazuki's lingering glances, not Hiroki's quiet confession. A job? A professional obligation? So why does it feel like so much more? I'm sorry, I say, meaning it more than he knows. It meant a lot to me. Hiroki smiles, though it doesn't quite reach his eyes this time. Me too. Let me take you home. The ride back to my apartment is quiet, charged with unspoken words and untaken chances. When we pull up, I see Kazuki pacing outside the entrance, his expression tense. Looks like it really is urgent, Hiroki says, his voice carefully neutral. I turn to thank him again, to say something, anything, that might acknowledge the shift that's happened between us tonight. But before I can find the words, Kazuki spots the car and strides over, his face lighting up with relief when he sees me. Haruka, thank God, he says as I step out. Then his eyes land on Hiroki, who's gotten out to open my door. Hiroki? What are you doing here? There's a strange note in his voice. Surprise, certainly, but something else too. Something that sounds almost like jealousy. Just giving Haruka a ride home, Hiroki says smoothly. We had dinner. Kazuki's eyes dart between us, questions evident in his expression. Dinner? The two of you? Is that a problem? I ask, suddenly defensive. We're old friends. No, of course not, Kazuki says quickly, but the tightness around his eyes tells a different story. I've been trying to reach you, about the venue. What about it? I ask, professional mode kicking in despite the emotional whiplash of the last few minutes. There's been a complication. Can we talk about it inside? I nod, then turn back to Hiroki. Thank you for tonight. Really. My pleasure, he says. And for a brief moment, his hand brushes against mine. A touch so light it could be accidental, yet so deliberate I know it isn't. I'll see you soon. As Hiroki drives away, I'm left standing with Kazuki, the weight of 3 hearts hanging in the balance. And as I look up at the man I once thought I'd spend my life with, I realize that the path forward is more unclear than ever before. Because now, it's not just about whether I still have feelings for Kazuki. It's about whether those feelings are worth pursuing when there's someone else, someone steady, kind, and certain, offering me a different kind of love altogether. Are you coming? Kazuki asks, holding the door to my building open. I take a deep breath and step forward into a night that suddenly feels like it might change everything. I planned my ex-boyfriend's wedding, but now he's having second thoughts, and so am I. The tangle of emotions I've worked so hard to contain over these past weeks threatens to unravel completely as I stand in the middle of my apartment, staring at the napkin samples scattered across my coffee table. My phone buzzes for the 5th time in 10 minutes. It's Kazuki again. My finger hovers over the decline button before I reluctantly answer. Haruka, please. I need to talk to you in person. There's nothing to talk about, I say, my voice steadier than my heartbeat. You're getting married in 3 weeks. We had a moment of whatever that was. It's over. You know it wasn't just a moment. His voice drops lower, and I hate that I still react to it, the way my skin prickles with awareness. Things have always been unfinished between us. I close my eyes and take a breath. Finished or not, they're in the past. I'm your wedding planner, remember? That's all I can be. Then at least meet me to discuss the wedding details. The venue called about some changes. It's a transparent excuse, but I need to be professional. Fine. Coffee shop near my office, 15 minutes. I hang up before he can respond and press my palms against my eyes. This is exactly what I promised myself. What I promised Yuki wouldn't happen. Yet here I am, agreeing to meet him when every reasonable part of me screams to keep my distance. The coffee shop is busy when I arrive, which is good. Public places mean boundaries, and boundaries are what we desperately need right now. I spot Kazuki immediately, sitting in a corner booth, 2 cups already on the table. He still remembers how I take my coffee. "You said there were venue issues?" I ask, sliding into the seat across from him, keeping my tone strictly professional. Kazuki looks tired, the kind of exhaustion that goes beyond physical. That was partly true. They called about scheduling the rehearsal dinner. "And you couldn't tell me this over the phone?" His eyes meet mine. "I needed to see you. Kazuki, I can't stop thinking about what you said at the temple, about us having different versions of the past." I wrap my hands around the warm coffee cup, needing something to hold on to. "It doesn't matter now. It matters to me." He leans forward, lowering his voice. "My father showed up at my apartment last night. He mentioned seeing you at the office." My stomach drops. "What did he say?" "Not much, just that you were as stubborn as ever." Kazuki's mouth quirks in a half smile. But it got me thinking about when we broke up, about his role in all of it. I feel like I'm standing on shifting sand. Part of me wants to tell him everything, how his father called me to his office 5 years ago, showed me the application Kazuki had been hiding for the International Architecture program, told me I was holding his son back. How I chose to walk away, because I thought it was what Kazuki truly wanted but couldn't say to my face. Instead, I say, "The past is complicated, but your future is clear. You're marrying May." "Is it clear?" His voice cracks slightly. "Because nothing feels clear anymore, Haruka." A notification pings on my phone, breaking the tension. It's from May. "Found the perfect centerpieces. Can we meet tomorrow to discuss?" I turn my phone so Kazuki can see the message, watching as guilt flashes across his features. "She trusts me," I say quietly. "She trusts us both." Kazuki runs a hand through his hair, looking more conflicted than I've ever seen him. "I know. That's what makes this so impossible." "There is no this," I insist, though my heart argues otherwise. "There can't be." The barista calls out another order, and the normal sounds of the coffee shop rush back in. For a moment, it felt like we were in our own bubble, but reality has sharp edges. "Tell me one thing," Kazuki says after a pause. "And be honest, if things had been different, if we had known the truth back then, do you think we would still be together?" The question hits me like a physical blow. That's not fair. Maybe not, but I need to know. I look at him, really look at him, and see the boy I fell in love with a decade ago and the man he's become. The answer rises to my lips before I can stop it. "Yes," I whisper. "I think we would be." Something shifts in his expression. Relief, pain, I can't tell which. He reaches across the table, his fingers brushing mine, and electricity shoots up my arm. "Then how can I—" "Don't." I pull my hand away. "Don't say it. We can't change the past, Kazuki. And we can't pretend the present isn't happening. May loves you, and you chose her. What if I made the wrong choice?" The words hang between us, dangerous and tempting. I stand up abruptly, gathering my things. "Then that's something you need to figure out on your own. Not with me." I walk out of the coffee shop, my heart hammering against my ribs. Outside, I gulp down the cool air, trying to steady myself. My phone pings again, a message from Yuki. "Emergency ice cream session tonight?" A smile tugs at my lips despite everything. She always knows. 3 hours later, I'm curled on my couch with Yuki, a carton of chocolate ice cream between us. "So he's having doubts," she summarizes after I've recounted the coffee shop conversation. "That doesn't mean you should be the one he turns to about them." "I know that," I sigh, digging my spoon deeper. "But it's not that simple. It never is with you two." Yuki gives me a pointed look. "But Haruka, You need to think about what happens after he works through these feelings. Best case scenario, he leaves May, breaks her heart, and comes back to you. You'd always wonder if he'd do the same to you someday. And worst case, I ask, though I already know. He works through his nostalgia, realizes he truly wants to be with May, and you're left heartbroken all over again. She squeezes my hand. Either way, you're walking on emotional glass. I rest my head against the couch. What if his father really did manipulate our breakup? Doesn't that change things? It explains things, but it doesn't change where you are now. Yuki's voice softens. You've rebuilt your life once. Are you ready to risk having to do it again? Before I can answer, my doorbell rings. We exchange confused glances. It's almost 9 at night. When I open the door, my breath catches. May stands there, her eyes red-rimmed, a folder clutched to her chest. I'm sorry to come by so late, she says, her voice steady despite her obvious distress. But I think we need to talk. I let her in, shooting Yuki a panicked look. Yuki stands, gathering her purse. I should go. No, please stay, May says with surprising firmness. I think I might need a witness. The air in the room grows heavy as May places the folder on my coffee table, carefully moving aside the napkin samples. I found these when I was looking for our passport information for the honeymoon arrangements. She opens the folder to reveal old photographs of Kazuki and me from college, arms wrapped around each other beneath cherry blossoms. And then I found this. She pulls out a small velvet box that makes my heart stop. Inside is a delicate silver bracelet with a small star charm, the one Kazuki gave me on our 3rd anniversary, the one I returned when we broke up. He kept it all this time, May says, her voice barely above a whisper. And when I asked him about it, he couldn't look me in the eye. She raises her gaze to meet mine. He's still in love with you, isn't he? The directness of her question leaves me speechless. Yuki shifts uncomfortably beside me. May, I don't think... Please, May interrupts. I need the truth, no more pretending. I look at the bracelet, at the photographs, at the woman whose wedding I've been planning while harboring feelings for her fiancé. Shame and guilt wash over me. I don't know how Kazuki feels, I say finally. We have history, yes, but he chose you, May. He's marrying you. Is he? Her voice cracks slightly. Because lately it feels like he's somewhere else entirely. And today, after he came home from meeting you, he looked at me like... She trails off, blinking back tears. Like he was seeing me clearly for the first time and wasn't sure he liked what he saw. My stomach twists with guilt. Nothing happened between us, I swear. Not physically, maybe. May's perception cuts through my defense. But something's happening. I can feel it. She takes a deep breath. I need you to be honest with me, Haruka. Do you still have feelings for him? The room seems to hold its breath. Yuki places a supportive hand on my shoulder, but this is my question to answer. Yes, I admit quietly. But I would never act on them. I took this job to help you, not to steal him back? May finishes, but there's no anger in her voice, just resignation. I believe you. That's what makes this even harder. She closes the velvet box with a decisive snap. I'm not going to be the woman who fights to keep a man who's looking over his shoulder at someone else. What are you saying? I ask, though I think I already know. May straightens her shoulders. I'm saying I need to have a serious conversation with my fiancé, and I think you should stop planning our wedding, effective immediately. May, I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry, she says, gathering the photographs and standing up. Be honest. With yourself, with Kazuki, with everyone. That's all any of us can do now. After she leaves, Yuki and I sit in stunned silence. Finally, she squeezes my hand. What are you going to do now? I look at the wedding plans scattered across my living room, the remnants of a future I've been trying to build for someone else while my own past refuses to stay buried. I don't know, I answer truthfully. But I think it's time I stopped running from the truth, whatever that means for all of us. My phone lights up with a text from Kazuki. May just came home. She wants to talk. I think she knows. I stare at the message, my finger hovering over the screen as I wonder what response could possibly make this situation right. Planning my ex-boyfriend's wedding. The final decision. I'm standing in the center of the empty ceremonial space, watching workers dismantle the wedding that never happened. Planning my ex-boyfriend's wedding taught me that some endings are actually beginnings in disguise, and sometimes the path forward isn't what anyone expected. 3 days have passed since Kazuki left Mei at the altar. 3 days of chaos, tears, phone calls, and explanations. 3 days of me hiding in my apartment, ignoring messages from everyone except Yuki, who brings me ice cream and doesn't ask questions. I've been replaying everything in my mind, trying to understand how we got here. The venue manager approaches, clipboard in hand. Ms. Tanaka, we've processed the cancellation paperwork. Will you be taking the centerpieces with you? No, I say quietly. Donate the flowers. The family doesn't want any reminders. He nods sympathetically. I know what everyone must be thinking, that I orchestrated this whole disaster, the wedding planner who stole back her ex. But they don't know the truth. Nobody does, except for the people who were there. I arrived at the venue that morning in full professional mode, determined to deliver the perfect wedding despite my breaking heart. My conversation with Kazuki the night before had left me raw but resolved. We had our closure. It was time to move forward. Everything looks perfect, Yuki said, adjusting a flower arrangement. She'd volunteered to help, knowing how difficult this day would be for me. It better be. I've put my entire career on this line. I checked my clipboard, running through my mental checklist. I just need to check on Mei. Can you make sure the string quartet is set up? I knocked on the bridal suite door, steeling myself. When Mei opened it, I was surprised to see her alone, already in her wedding dress, looking strangely calm. Everyone's taking a break, she explained. Come in, I've been waiting to speak with you. I entered cautiously, noticing the champagne flute in her hand. Is everything okay? You look beautiful. Do I? She smiled tightly. Haruka, I need to ask you something, and I need the truth. My stomach dropped. Of course. Are you still in love with Kazuki? The directness of her question knocked the wind out of me. I opened my mouth to deliver the professional denial I'd rehearsed countless times, but something in her eyes, a knowing resignation, stopped me. Don't lie to me, she said, her voice eerily steady. Not today. I took a deep breath. My feelings don't matter. He chose you. She laughed, a hollow sound. That's not what I asked. She set down her glass and turned to face me fully. I found your old photos last night, in his desk drawer, and his journal. My heart stopped. You went through his things? I've suspected something was wrong for weeks, the way he looks at you. I just needed to know. Her eyes filled with tears. He wrote about you, Haruka, recently, about regrets and missed chances. I felt dizzy. Mei, whatever you read, it doesn't change anything. The wedding is happening in 2 hours. He's marrying you. Is he? She reached for an envelope on the vanity. He left this for me this morning with the breakfast tray. Read it. My hands trembled as I took it. I can't read your private. Read it. I pulled out the letter, my eyes catching phrases that made my heart race. Deepest regret. Cannot continue this deception. Feelings I thought were resolved. Unfair to you. I looked up in horror. Mei, where is Kazuki? Gone. She took another sip of champagne. He came to say goodbye, then left. He's not coming back. The room spun. But all these people, your families. I know. She looked strangely relieved. Isn't it terrible? I should be devastated. She met my eyes. But do you want to know a secret, Haruka? I'm relieved. What? I've been having doubts too, for months. She twisted her engagement ring. I loved the idea of being with Kazuki more than I loved him. I loved what he represented, stability, success, the perfect life. But we were never... She struggled for the word. Passionate? I offered quietly. Exactly. She smiled sadly. Not like you two were. I saw it from the first meeting. The way you both tried so hard to be professional, while electricity crackled between you. She sighed. I thought I could ignore it. I thought it was just history. May, I never intended. I know. Neither did he. She stood, smoothing her dress. He's at Minato Bridge, that place you two used to go. He told me he needed to think. She handed me her engagement ring. Give him this back for me. I stared at the diamond in my palm. I don't understand. Don't you? She looked at me with surprising kindness. Go to him, Haruka. You both deserve the chance I almost took away. Driving to Minato Bridge, I called Yuki in a panic. He did what? She shrieked when I explained. And you're going after him? Haruka, this is insane. I have to talk to him, I said, weaving through traffic. Someone needs to convince him to come back. And you think that someone is you? The woman he's clearly still in love with? I don't know what I'm doing, I admitted. But I can't let him throw everything away. When I arrived at the bridge, the sky was threatening rain. I spotted him immediately, leaning against the railing, still in his suit pants and white shirt, tie removed, staring at the water below. My heart ached at the sight of him. You're supposed to be getting married in an hour, I said, approaching slowly. He turned, unsurprised to see me. May sent you. She gave me this. I held out the ring. Kazuki, what are you doing? He took the ring, pocketing it without looking. The right thing, finally. I couldn't marry her loving someone else. My breath caught. You can't just abandon her on your wedding day. I didn't. We talked. She knew, Haruka. She's known for a while. He stepped closer. Last night, after our conversation, I couldn't sleep. I realized I've been lying to myself, to May, to everyone. I wrote her a letter explaining everything, thinking I'd give it to her after the honeymoon. But this morning, seeing her, I couldn't go through with it. So you just walked away? I felt anger rising. Do you know how many people are waiting at that venue? How much planning went into today? I know. His eyes were pained. I'll face everyone. I'll take full responsibility. But I couldn't stand in front of all those people and make vows I knew I couldn't keep. Rain began to fall, light at first, then heavier. Neither of us moved. You broke her heart, I said, even as I wondered if that was true, given May's strange calmness. She broke mine first, he said quietly. 3 months ago, with another man. I froze. What? I found out she'd been seeing someone else. We almost called off the wedding then, but her father had invested so much in the merger with my family's company. We agreed to try again. He laughed bitterly. We were both lying to each other, going through the motions. Why didn't you tell me this? What difference would it have made? You were clearly determined to maintain professional boundaries, and I respected that. Until he stepped closer, rain soaking through his shirt. Until I realized I was about to make the same mistake I made 5 years ago, letting you go without fighting for what we had. My heart thundered in my chest. Kazuki, I don't expect anything from you, he said quickly. I know I've made a mess of everything, but I needed to be honest, finally. With May? With myself? His eyes met mine. With you. The rain fell harder, plastering my hair to my face. What do we do now? I don't know. He reached out tentatively, brushing wet hair from my cheek. But for the first time in years, I feel like I can breathe. Back at the venue, chaos ensued. Kazuki faced his family. May faced hers. There were tears, accusations, revelations. The truth came out about May's affair, about his father's manipulation of our breakup years ago, about the business merger that had been the real foundation of their relationship. Through it all, I remained professional, helping guests leave, arranging refunds, managing the fallout as best I could. Kazuki and I barely spoke, both understanding that whatever existed between us couldn't be explored in the wreckage of his wedding day. Days later, standing in this empty venue, I'm still processing everything. My phone buzzes with a text from Kazuki. Can we talk? Coffee at our old place in an hour? Our old place. the small cafe where we spent countless Sunday mornings during our relationship. I hesitate, then type back, "I'll be there." As I drive away from the venue, I realize something unexpected. My business hasn't suffered from this disaster, as I feared. Instead, I've received 3 new clients, couples who appreciated my grace under pressure during the cancellation. Sometimes what looks like failure is actually redirection. At the cafe, Kazuki is waiting, looking both familiar and new. His smile when he sees me is tentative, hopeful. "Thank you for coming," he says as I slide into the seat across from him. "I almost didn't, I admit." "I wouldn't blame you." He fidgets with his coffee cup. "Haruka, I want to apologize for putting you in such an impossible position." "You don't need to apologize for being honest," I say, "though your timing could have been better." He laughs softly. "Fair enough." His expression grows serious. "I've been thinking about what happens next. For us? Is there an us?" I ask carefully. "I hope there could be. Someday." He reaches across the table, not quite touching my hand. "But I know we can't just pick up where we left off. Too much has happened." I nod, relieved at his understanding. "I need time, Kazuki. This has been a lot." "I know." His eyes are warm. "I'm not going anywhere this time. When you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'll be here." For the first time in weeks, I feel the tension leave my body. Not because everything is resolved, but because finally the truth is out. No more pretending, no more hiding feelings, no more professional masks. "So what now?" I ask. "Now," he says with a gentle smile, "we begin again. Properly this time. As friends first, if that's what you want." I consider this man I once loved, still love, sitting across from me offering not grand gestures or desperate pleas, but patience and understanding. "Friends," I agree, finally letting my hand meet his. "For now." His fingers warm against mine, feel like both an ending and a beginning, the final chapter of a complicated past and the first page of whatever comes next. And for the first time since I agreed to plan my ex-boyfriend's wedding, I'm not afraid of what that might be.